Over the last few years, there have been plenty of close calls when it comes to spectators and motorsports. The safety put into these racetracks across the country has saved plenty of lives and prevented numerous injuries. Despite the advances in safety technology, there are still risks when attending a motorsports race. Everyone on the racetrack is pushing their cars to the limit, and unfortunately, accidents do occur. Today we are going to look at some of the closest calls when it comes to spectators across the three biggest racing series: Formula 1, IndyCar, and NASCAR. During the 2013 Grand Prix of Houston, the talk of the day had been Will Power, who had seemingly dominated the race. As he was coming up on taking the checker flag, Dario Franchitti was in 11th place trying to crack the top 10 when he got into an accident on the final lap.
This championship is going to go all the way to the final. Whoa, that's a huge crash. EJ Viso, was it Marco Andretti? There's 4 or 5 cars involved in that. Turn 10 for the final time. It's a Penske day. It's a Will Power day in Houston.
And there's the marbles on the outside there. Sato gets loose.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. That is a horrifying ride for Dario Franchitti.
Oh, man. That is an oval crash we've seen before, and we hate to see that kind of impact.
Sato,
oh boy!
Well,
look at the debris go through. Oh boy! And fencing.
The crash was a major one, sending debris into the stands and injuring 13 people and Franchitti himself, who fractured 2 vertebrae and his right ankle. 11 people were treated at the racetrack and 2 were sent to a hospital for minor injuries. Although the catch fence flew into the crowd, it did do its job by holding the car inside of the racetrack. Despite 2 minor spectator injuries, the 2013 Grand Prix of Houston was certainly a close call. During the 2022 British Grand Prix, Zhou Guanyu was collected in a wreck that happened just in front of him in the opening turn. George Russell clipped Zhou's Alfa Romeo, flipping it over and sending it near the stands. The crash sent dirt and dust into the spectator area, as well as the speakers that came very close to the fans sitting in the front row. Spectators ran up the bleachers as the car came very close to the front rows. Thankfully, the catch fence did its job and everyone, including Zhou, was okay. As many of you have probably seen, another open-wheel close call happened in the 2023 Indy 500. Felix Rosenqvist got loose coming out of turn 1 and spun, collecting Kyle Kirkwood.
On the brakes, nowhere to go. You see the crowd duck as that tire misses.
I think it cleared the grandstand.
It just cleared.
You do not see that very often. We have wheel tethers attached to all 4 corners of these cars, and I've seen some monumental shunts where the tires and wheels all stay attached to the chassis.
There's something about the contact that sheared the tether instantly.
The crash would send a tire flying to the stands, just nearly missing spectators and hitting a car in the parking lot. IndyCar said that the tether that held the tire did not fail, but they did not say what may have caused the tire to fly into the stands. Another close call with a tire occurred during the 2008 Coke 600. Brian Vickers was very strong, and after leading the beginning of the race, his day would come to an early end after losing a tire.
Emotions going back and forth, Mike, on the last stop. The concern went away because they told Brian Vickers they did indeed have a loose left rear wheel.
And he just hit the wall. He just hit the wall hard, Matt.
Around goes Dillon.
And everybody else gets on the brakes.
I think they're running over parts over there. I see parts flying everywhere.
And a wheel goes over the fence into a camper area.
But Mike, I think you're right. I think Dillon hit that tire and wheel.
Let's see what happens here. Yeah, you see the center of the tire. The wheel is gone.
Well, the only way we're going to find out, we're going to have to go over to the infield and dig it out of that camper tent that it went over into.
Man, look at the guys.
And it did bounce off the hood of Gilliland's car. It's still going. Photographers scramble. And it just missed the folks up on that scaffold.
On the 5th lap of the 2023 Miami GP, Lando Norris had a close call with a person darting across the pit lane. The previous week, Esteban Ocon had the same thing happen to him in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix on the final lap to avoid reporters that had gathered in the pit lane. Thankfully, both drivers took swift action to miss the reporters. During the 1981 Daytona 500, a bizarre accident occurred when Geoff Bodine lost control in turns 3 and 4 and darted into the infield. There were no inside walls at the track during this time, which resulted in Bodine barely missing reporters and hitting a car.
Oh, there's trouble. Car number 23 has spun off up at turn number 4, up by the tunnel. Car number 23 out of control at turn 4. Geoff Bodine's automobile has finally come to rest. Apparently there was oil on the track in turn 4. Let's look and see if we can discover what happened here. And there in the top of the picture you saw some smoke coming off the wheels of car number 23, the Bear car of Bob and Richard Bear from Oxford, Maine, and the car sliding, coming up across the top of the tunnel, people darting, getting out of the way, as those are press photographers up there, and safety personnel.
I have never in all my years coming to Daytona seen a car take such an incredible course.
Another famous close call occurred during the 2015 Coke 0400 with Austin Dillon going airborne into the catch fence. His car was in the middle lane and leapt over an entire row of cars where it came to a complete stop in the fence. 13 spectators were treated for minor injuries, with only 2 of them heading to the hospital.
Into the triumph they come! Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the bottom of the track! Jr. will win at Daytona! And the big one happens behind them!
Oh my God!
Yeah, the 11 gets kind of stuck in the middle there and comes across the 4's bumper. As he does, he spins back in, gets the 3 airborne, and he just gets projected off the other cars right up into the fence.
In 1971, tragedy nearly struck during the Indy 500. As the race went green, the pace car lost control and slid into the photographer's stand, injuring 29 people.
The pace car is out of control. The race is underway, but all eyes are on the photographer's stand at the foot of the straightaway. An unprecedented accident, and miraculously, no one fatally injured.
All right, here is Bill Kreider of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, a photographer who was on the stand when it was struck by the pace car. Bill, actually, what happened?
Well, there were about 60 of us on the stand, and suddenly the pace car came right down through the pit, and we saw it was sliding, and thought there was no chance it was going to stop before it hit. And it hit, and of course, those that are on the first row probably got the impact of the pace car. Those of us that were on the top got knocked clear down to the bottom.
How many were in the stand?
I would say about 60 people.
Were there any seriously injured?
Yes, there were several that looked like they could have been. They were bleeding profusely, and they had to be taken away in an ambulance. So I would assume that they were pretty badly banged up.
How are you?
I'm a little sore in a few spots.
Will you be able to do your work today?
Oh, you bet.
Despite all that was happening, the race stayed green as they cleared up the accident at the end of pit road. Remarkably, no one was fatally killed. Another close call with multiple fans involved came during the 2013 Drive for COPD 300. Regan Smith threw a block on the last lap, turning him into the wall and causing a serious accident.
Final corner at Daytona. Who's gonna get here first? Regan Smith 7, Keselowski 22, Stewart 33, and contact! Smith turned around. Tony Stewart is going to win this race. And a terrible crash coming to the finish.
This is a big wreck.
Kyle Larson's car with the front end severely torn off.
Tony Stewart.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my God! Oh! Look, this guy just been hit
front end of Kyle Larson's car disintegrated into the grandstands, injuring 28 people, including 2 critically. 14 people were treated on site, while the other 14 were taken to Halifax Medical Center for further evaluation. Everyone survived, and the 2013 Daytona 500 was ran the next day. I hope you guys enjoy the change-up on my channel, and if you did, make sure to leave some suggestions down in the comments section. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video.